Okay, good morning, Rabbi Sai. I get to vach to everybody. I want to say we're going to start like this. So, there's a famous mice everybody knows where there's a guy walking down the street and he sees a $100 bill floating slowly down right in front of him. It lands and he picks it up. He's like, this is gewaldig. I mamish needed this. Hashem knows exactly what I need. Right? I took the $100. He keeps walking and he sees another $100 floating slowly down in front of him. He's like, what is going on? This is my lucky day. Money floating down, Akiva. What's going on? What's this gewaldig, right? So the mice is like this. What does he do? He looks up and he thinks, where is this coming from? And he sees on one of the marpesas, one of the porches nearby, there's a little kid, like a 2-year-old child, who's got obviously his father's wallet in his hand, and he's opening up his father's wallet, and one by one he's taking the money out, these pieces of paper, and he's throwing it down, down on the street. It's a piece of paper. What's the big deal? I'm sure my father won't miss it too much. So this guy on the street is watching the whole episode unfold, and all of a sudden he sees that the father comes out onto the porch, looks at his son, he's like, hey, what are you doing? Starts screaming at him and he starts looking down to see where's the money gone. True Maisa, but it's a Maisa that tells us something that we're about to learn. Sometimes, like that child in the story, we're holding things in our hand and we don't even realize how powerful they are. We don't even realize how choshev they are. Like the child putting down the $100 bills, we don't even recognize what we have. I'd like to spend tomorrow, discussing something that every single one of us have, but don't realize what we have. We have something in our hands, we can utilize something, but we don't recognize what we have. And that is the gewaldige mitzvah and inyan and halacha of Birchas Kohanim. The Netziv says that every single bracha that is found in the world is based and included in the 15 words of Birchas Kohanim. So we are not only addressing the Kohanim right now, we're addressing every single one of us who listen or should be listening and be present by Birchas Kohanim if we recognize the godless of the opportunity of Birchas Kohanim that we have every single day here in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Sher brings Leket Sichas Musa in Chelek Gimel. He says, we have to believe in the koyach of Birchas Kohanim more than we believe in the koyach of a bracha from a tzaddik. Now you'll tell me, how can that be? So Rabbi said, I'd like to read to you some of the Mamorei Chazal, what the Chazal have to say about Birchas Kohanim, so hopefully we'll understand a little bit of what is going on behind the scenes of Birchas Kohanim and the opportunity that every one of us have every day here in Eretz Yisrael to be able to get Birchas Kohanim. So the emes is, Birchas Kohanim is like a prophecy. It's like a nevuah. It's like a nevuah. Why? Because the purpose of a prophecy is to deliver a message from the Rabbeinu Shalom. That's what prophecy really is. And therefore, that's exactly what the Kohanim are doing. The Kohanim are delivering a message straight from the Melech Malchei Hamlochim, from the Rabbeinu Shalom. And just like you're not allowed to look at a Novi when he's having a nevuah prophecy, because the Shechina is resting on him, so too you're not allowed to look at a Kohen, B'shas Birchas Kohanim, because the Shechina is there. And he's delivering a message straight from the Rabbeinu Shalom. Just imagine, Rabbi Sai, for a minute. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Sai. The Gemara in Shabbos says, never stop learning. Didn't even have to say Krishma. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, how can we even fathom the godless, the Kedusha, the Tahara of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai? Or for example, Reb Chanina ben Doisa. Right, Reb Chanina ben Doisa, the Gemara tells us in Brachos Yud Zayin, the whole world was just for him. Reb Chanina ben Doisa, we're talking about Tanakh. We don't even understand. But can you imagine if Reb Shimon Bar Yochai or Reb Chanina ben Doisa was in this base medrash during Shachris? They would humble themselves and stand in awe in front of the Kohanim, ready to receive the bracha that the Kohanim are giving us, even though the Kohanim could be regular choshev yeshiva bachrim, but nothing close, anywhere close to Reb Shimon Bar Yochai or Reb Chanina ben Doisa. But still, these gedolim, these tanoim, would actually stand in humility in front of the Kohanim, because they recognize that what this Kohen is giving you is something that no other human being other than a Kohen can possess and can give you, and that's what we can receive every single day. Rav David Cohen, the Shiva of Hebron, writes down in Askama, he says he asked once Rav Aaron Leib about Birchas Kohanim, and Rav Aaron Leib was saying, like, I don't understand. People run all over the world, brachas from tzaddikim, from rebbes, which is Gavaldik, but they don't even know if they're going to be fulfilled. You have no guarantee it's going to be fulfilled. You'd like it to be, and often it is, but you have no guarantee. Rav Aaron Leib said you have Birchas Kohanim, which is a bracha straight from the Rabbeinu Shalom, every single day, or in Chutz La'aretz on Yom Tov, we'll talk about that as well. And yet, people are not concentrating, people are not being machshav it, people don't understand it. And that's what a person has to realize, that the bracha that you get from Birchas Kohanim is unbelievable. So let me give you some Mamari Chazal of how choshev this Gavaldiga thing is, so you should understand what you're dealing with. Gemara in Saita. The Gemara in Saita asks, Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, how do we know that the Rabbeinu Shalom desires Birchas Kohanim? You hear this? Right, Kaviyachal, we're not understanding the midas of Hashem, but the Rabbeinu Shalom Kaviyachal, the Gemara asks, desires, wants Birchas Kohanim. How do we know that the Rabbeinu Shalom wants Birchas Kohanim? So again, Rabbi Shua ben Levi in the Gemara in Saita brings Lamed Ches, V'somu es shemi al b'nei Yisrael v'ani avorchem. That's the pasuk in the Torah. I shall place my name on b'nei Yisrael and I will bless them. Rashi brings down that Rabbi Shua ben Levi understood, I will bless them means that when the Kohanim bless Klal Yisrael, what happens is the Rabbeinu Shalom blesses Klal Yisrael at exactly the same time. So if that's the case, asks the Marsha in Saita, why do we need the Kohanim? If the Rabbeinu Shalom is blessing us, what do you need the Kohanim for? Zug the Marisha, you have to say pshat that the Rabbeinu Shalom desires Birchas Kohanim because he wants to give his blessing through the Kohanim to Bnei Yisrael. There's a She'iltus to Rav Achai. The She'iltus to Rav Achai brings a different version of Rabbi Shua ben Levi. And he says, how do we know that even the Rabbeinu Shalom needs Birchas Kohanim? Rabbi say, unbelievable. The Rabbeinu Shalom desires. The Rabbeinu Shalom needs Birchas Kohanim. This is huge. And we have something every single day that we have. There's a Mordechai Ein Yaakov, by the way, in Sot over there, Lamed Ches. Ein Yaakov brings down that just like the Rabbeinu Shalom wanted a Mishkan down in this physical world, so that he could rest his Shechina in this physical world, says the Ein Yaakov, so too the Rabbeinu Shalom wants and desires and needs Birchos Kohanim, so he can rest the Shechina on Klal Yisrael. Now the Torah begins the mitzvah of Birchos Kohanim with the words, Koi sevorchu es b'nei Yisrael emo lehem. So shall you bless Bnei Yisrael, say to them. Says Rabbeinu Bechaya on this word, unbelievable pshat. Says Rabbeinu Bechaya, what's the S? What does that mean? Says Rabbeinu Bechaya, it comes to include all the malachim. All the malachim in Shemayim, and he brings also a Zoya and Parshas Nosoi that says that when the Kohanim are giving their bracha, when Birchas Kohanim is happening here in the Beis Medrash in Shul, all the malachim come down from Shemayim to also receive their bracha from the Kohanim. Rabbi said that's what's going on in Shul, B'shas Birchas Kohanim. There's a Mordechai Sfas Emes, Rabbi said, in this week's Parsha. The Sfas Emes in Parshas Vayechi brings down that when the Kohanim raise their hands in order to say Birchas Kohanim, Zuk the Sfas Emes, look it up in this week's Parsha, Parshas Vayechi, the Malachim from the upper worlds descend and the Kohanim of the lower worlds arise. Unbelievable things are happening during Birchas Kohanim. There's a Sefer Habohe, brings a medrash. That is the medrash of the Tana of Nechuna ben Akana. He quotes the following statement of Rabbi Yochanan. V'hoya, kasher yorim Moshe yoda v'gova Yisrael. Right, we know the Parsha in Shemos Zayin, that there was a Muhammad, there was war. And whenever Moshe Rabbeinu lifted up his hand, Klal Yisrael won. They were winning the war. Says the Sefer Abor, once again it's a medrash of the Tana of Nechuna ben Akana. He says that the world continues to exist because of Birchas Kohanim. As I state the medrash, the world exists because of Birchas Kohanim. In fact, any of you that are familiar with the Yerushalmi and Sota Tes, the Yerushalmi in Sota tells us that there are many klolos in the world, there are curses in the world. What annuls those curses that the world can continue its existence, says the Yerushalmi Rav Ovin B'Shem Rav Achai, the Birchas Kohanim annuls all curses. That means the person's in shul and has kavanah and he's listening to Birchas Kohanim, and if Rachmana litzlan there's a curse on him, he can mevatel it through Birchas Kohanim. There's a medrash in Tehillim Perek Zayin Pasuk Yud Beis, different version of this statement. Omer Rav Acha, if Kaviyachol the Rabbeinu Shalom gets angry, how do we continue to exist? The answer is Birchas Kohanim. Hashem promised Avram Avinu in Bereshis Yud Beis, Va'avorcha mivarechecha, I will bless those that bless you and curse those that curse you. Says Rabbeinu Chaim Paltiel, he's a Balei Tosfos. He says that it was not necessary to promise Avram Avinu that the curse will be annulled, because through Birchas Kohanim, the curse of any wicked person becomes annulled. That means there are enemies out there. There are people that want to hurt us, that want to pain us, that want to annihilate us. What do we do to protect ourselves? Birchas Kohanim. You got to be here, you got to listen, you got to concentrate. There's a Mordechai Rabbeinu B'chai in Kata Kemach. I'm giving you Chazal Rabbi say about Birchas Kohanim that you never heard before. This is unbelievable. Understand what goes on. Rabbeinu B'chai brings Kata Kemach. It is known that the entire universe is sustained because of the schos of Birchas Kohanim. As I state Rabbeinu B'chai. So Moshe Halberstam Zatzal in a Haskama to one of the Sfarim brings down that he found in the writings of his father B'Shem the Zayda, the Heilige Divrei Chaim of Tzanz, that the Divrei Chaim of Tzanz said the following thing. The Divrei Chaim of Tzanz said that any day that there was Birchas Kohanim and a Yid came for a bracha to the Heilige Tzanza, absolutely not. I'm not giving you a bracha, there's Birchas Kohanim today. Mimela, I don't need to give you brachas, because at the end of the day, the brachas from the Kohanim come directly from the Rabbeinu Shalom. Nobody needs a bracha from me. As I took the Heilige Divrei Chaim from Tzanz, and Moshe Halberstam Einikel brings it down. So Moshe Halberstam actually said, he brought this that he found, B'Shem the Zayder of the Heilige Tzanza, to Reb Chaim Kanievsky, Zatzal, and he asked Reb Chaim the following kasha. He said, Mistama, because Lamaisa, the Tzanza writes that it only applies in Chutz Laretz, because they only heard Birchas Kohanim on Yom Tov. But in Eretz Yisrael, where there's Birchas Kohanim every day, it probably doesn't apply. So they asked Reb Chaim Kanievsky if that's true. Is it true that it wouldn't apply, meaning that there's no point getting that you can't get brachas from Gedolim on a day in Eretz Yisrael, because there's Birchas Kohanim every day. It's only in Chutz Laretz and it's only on Yom Tov. So Reb Chaim Kanievsky was chaylik. He said absolutely not. Even and every single day that there's Birchas Kohanim in Eretz Yisrael, there's absolutely no necessity to get a bracha from anyone, because you have a bracha straight from the Melech Malchei Amlachim, straight from the Rabbeinu Shalom. So there's no necessity to go anywhere and ask anything. In fact, Shimshon Pinkus brings down in Nefesh Shimshon on Tehillim, he brings down, if you want to know when is the greatest Eis Rotzen, when is the greatest Eis Rotzen in your day, in your year. So Shimshon Pinkus, and again he brings up Pi Kabbalah, I'm not going to go through all the Marmakomis, he says the greatest Eis Rotzen, the time of Rotzen, of favor, heavenly favor, is when the Kohanim are saying Birchas Kohanim. At that time, that is what's going on. He says the gates of Shemayim are mamish open. They're open. They're open for anything, for whatever you need at that time. And he brings rayas and he says, what more do you need? Yivarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, Hashem will bless you with everything you got, safeguard you, give you shalom. What else do you need? The gates of heaven are open. The Eis Rotzen happens b'shas a person is by and listens to Birchas Kohanim. In fact, a Yid went to Ofakim one early morning to ask Rav Shimshon Pinkus for some personal challenge he was facing. He was facing something very, very difficult. He went to discuss it with Rav Shimshon Pinkus. Rav Shimshon Pinkus says to him, listen, Rabbi Yid, I want to tell you something. Next door, you could get the greatest bracha of all time. And unbelievable. And he started, saying the attributes of what, and the guy's like, who is this? Which big tzaddik? Tzaddik Nista, this hidden tzaddik that I never heard about. Who lives next door of Shimshon Pinkus? Everybody came to Shimshon Pinkus. Who knew about the tzaddik next door? So he said, who is it? Let me go. He said, come to the shul, they're about to start Shachris, and we'll go to Birchas Kohanim. And you get a bracha directly from the Rabbeinu Shalom. That is what goes on in that case over there. To realize what's going on is unbelievable. In fact, the grandson of Rav Shach was also very, very makbid, as we'll see in a minute, of Birchas Kohanim. And he said that one time a bracha in Panovich Yeshiva wasn't at Shachris, and Rav Shach noticed the bracha. And he said, hey, well, what happened to Shachris? So I overslept, whatever it is. I davened in my room without a minyan, I figured it out. And Rav Shach said, if you want to get gadlus in Torah, if you want to become great in learning Torah, you need to hear Birchas Kohanim. Birchas Kohanim is a scholar for a person, said Rav Shach, to become great in learning Torah. Yes, you can daven by yourself, this, that, and the other. You can be Yetzer Tefillah in other ways, but you miss Birchas Kohanim. There were Gedolim in Eretz Yisrael, and still are, who were makbid, and who were always makbid, that before they went to Eretz Yisrael, they made sure, where's the nearest minyan that I can get Birchas Kohanim? As you know, the Sfardim have, and we'll discuss that Be'ez Hashem tomorrow, Sfardim have Birchas Kohanim every single day. I try to go, if it works out with the schedule, when I'm in America, if I'm in New York, I try to go to Ateret HaTorah, and I try to get my Birchas Kohanim by the Sfardim over there, so at least once during, it doesn't always work out with the schedule, I can try to get Birchas Kohanim. But I'll just leave the oilim with one Maisa. Rav Simcha Sheinberg, Shlita, the Rosh Yeshiva of Torah, said a Maisa about his father, my Rosh Yeshiva, Reb Chaim Pinchas Zatzal. Following Maisa, and he said like this: Rav Sheinberg was unbelievably makbid in Birchas Kohanim. His thirst was unquenchable when it came to Birchas Kohanim. Before he even traveled, he made sure where's the nearest Sephardi minyan. Even if you wouldn't daven there after his Ashkenazi minyan, he would go over to the Sephardim, make sure to hear Birchas Kohanim. He was very makbid to hear Birchas Kohanim. So one time, there was a Talmud of Rav Sheinberg, long before he came, and he lived in New York, and Rav Sheinberg, for about 40 years ago, was collecting money for the yeshiva, and he sees this yid over here. He sees this yid, and he saw that, wow, his Rebbe was so makbid de Birchas Kohanim. He's like, should I do the same thing? I don't daven in a Sephardi shul. What should I do? Should I also be makbid to here? I live in Chutz La'aretz. Do I have to be makbid? So Rav Sheinberg said, listen, you don't have to, but it's definitely a big schus and a big merit if you would go listen to Birchas Kohanim every single day. So the story goes, again, if Simcha Sheinberg says over the Maisa, the story goes that for years and years he went every single day to a Sephardi minyan to listen to Birchas Kohanim. He was blessed with the most incredible wealth, one of the wealthiest people giving tzedakah in New York today. Unbelievable, Rabbi Yisai. The schos what you get by listening to Birchas Kohanim. Be'ez Hashem, tomorrow we're going to try to go through some more inyonim halachos of Birchas Kohanim. Join us then and listen to Birchas Kohanim tomorrow morning with more kavanah. Have a great day.